Good
I
evening,
will.
everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. This is the first Dementia Caregiver Support Group of the year. I'm Corlette DeVoe, and I have with me my lovely co-hosts, Dr. Teresa Clark and Dr. Crystal Rowe. You'll be hearing from them shortly. But when we reconvened and we talked about what the first topic is going to be for this year, we all decided on one thing. That is resetting, resetting for the new year. Because as caregivers, we give so much of ourselves every single day. So the start of a new year is not just about thinking about perfection or being perfect or really just having all the answers. We want to take a moment to pause. We want to take a moment to give you permission to pause, to take a breath, and to remind ourselves that, you know what, we are caring for others, but we matter too. So today we want to take an opportunity to talk about resetting, reflecting, and renewing our strength and what we need to do for ourselves to be stronger and better to care for others. So today we want to focus on how to build resilience, how to set gentle intentions, and how to focus on starting a clean slate, resetting, starting the new year strong, and taking care of ourselves so we can take care of our loved ones. So with that, I'd like to have Dr. Clark and Dr. Roll introduce themselves. And then, of course, Dr. Clark, if you don't mind, we do have a speaker this evening. We try to have a speaker every session, and our speaker today is none other than Dr. Karen Moss. Dr. Clark, please feel free to introduce her and share more information about her as we go through this meeting this evening. Thank you so much, Dr. Clark. Dr. Roll.
Sure. I am Dr. Teresa Clark. I am a physician scientist. I also spent quite a bit of time in Alzheimer's research as a physician specialized basically in diabetes. And retired now, but doing quite a bit of presentations on Alzheimer's as well as community outreach. And welcome to all of you and Happy New Year.
Dr. Roll. Dr. Roll, are you on?
Hi, Happy New Year to everyone. I trust that you all made it safely through to the new year. I am Dr. Crystal Rowe, geriatrician, hospice, and palliative care specialist based here in Nassau, Bahamas. And I am excited for what the new year brings forth with all of you as we continue to grow and support each other.
Thank you so much, Dr. Roll. Thank you so much. Dr. Clark, before you introduce our speaker, I'd like to ask everyone on this call to think about something for me. Please think about one word. We are starting the new year. We have a clean slate. Think about one word that describes how you feel going into this new year. As a caregiver, how do you feel? One word that would describe you. We'll start off with you, Mr. Bostwick. I see you, you're top of my screen. Let's start off with you. One word that would describe you, how you're feeling going into the new year.
Very stressed. I was hoping that I'll learn something this evening when I listen to what you have to say, but it's been very challenging last year. It's a hell of an experience being a caregiver.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Okay.
It does.
Oh, it is.
It does.
Okay. KT, one word that describes how you're feeling going into the new year.
I am looking forward to learning more and how to be a presence, as well as how to understand, because it's my mom that is suffering from dementia. So this is very new to me because I have been, I would say, taking care of her, looking after her, not personally, but having other persons look after her, but just being present there for her. So I'm looking more towards being a presence and how I can learn how to better understand her her needs.
Okay, thank you so much. That's fantastic. I see BDT, you're not a caregiver, you are a follower. No problem. Dr. Saunders, one word that describes how you're feeling going into this new year. What about, is it MUR Glenn? Do you have a word that describes how you're feeling? What about Kimberly?
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
I am relaxed and just eager to learn more on how to give more of myself to help, someone with the disease.
That's fantastic, fantastic. Well, welcome. Monique?
One word to describe me right now, it would be tired. But
Understood.
Mm.
Understood, Monique. Understood. Samsung.
Yes.
Samsung. Who's the Samsung? Okay. And last, Natasha Gibson. One word to describe how you're feeling going into the new year. Alrighty. So whether you're tired, you're stressed, or whatever you're feeling, this support group every month is supposed to be somewhere where you can come to be a safe space. Dr. Clark says this every single month. It's a safe space. So we encourage you to bring how you're feeling and share it with us. Get it off your chest. We have a nurse scientist, we have an Alzheimer's scientist, we have a geriatric physician on this call, and I have 25 years experience in pharmaceutical sales, also educating in dementia space. So you have folks here that can be of support, and you also have each other that are experiencing similar things. So this is your safe space. Let us help you. Please share what you're feeling, and we'll talk about how we can work through the issues together. Dr. Clark, I want to take an opportunity to introduce our speaker. Hopefully by the end of this meeting, you will feel a little bit better and really use this forum to help you through the feelings that you have going into 2026. Dr. Clark?
Sure. So tonight, our guest speaker is Dr. Karen Moss. She is a PhD RN, is a tenured associate professor at Ohio State University, focusing on improving care for the elderly with dementia, as well as the caregivers. She's a graduate of the University of the Bahamas and the University of Virginia. She's a fellow of Gerontology Society of America and created the award-winning Pair to Care program that support Black families and caregivers. So I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Karen Moss, a nurse scientist who's our guest speaker tonight.
Thank you so much, Dr. Clark, and thank you for this opportunity to be here tonight and to share. I always really enjoy attending these sessions as a bit of just a regular attendee and appreciate the work that you all are doing. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and share my slides that I am going to go through fairly quickly. But I want us to be able to have just a little bit of a reminder is what I'm hoping it is about things we need to do. Not included in my bio is the fact that I was Born in Princess Margaret Hospital. I worked as a nurse at Princess Margaret Hospital. I'm a graduate of UB, so very much in touch at home, and still very much in touch at home. So, Happy New Year to everyone. I'm so glad everyone is here. We made it. I
Yes.
think, as Dr.
Amen.
Rose said, we made it. We crossed over. Thank you, Lord. And
Amen.
I also want to say congratulations to you all as caregivers. You know, I will admit that I am not a, I'm a Valley girl. That's not going to change, even with the split. But, just like the Warriors, and, they celebrated their win on Bay Street for both Junkanoo parades, I want to say congratulations to you all. Congratulations to you all, especially those who are caregivers in particular, because you made it through the ups and downs of 2025. And whether you're really new to this or you've been at it for a while, hats off to you for the work that you are doing. You are appreciated, is what we want to make sure that the message that we convey first of all. So this is a little bit of a snapshot of tonight's flow. We're going to do a little bit of grounding and intention. We're going to talk about some practical, very small or micro habits that you can incorporate or set on steroids if you're doing them already. So kind of make them a bit more impactful in your life. And then talk a little bit about resources and planning. And I will preface that by saying, when we talk about planning and healthcare planning and planning for, healthcare decision making for the future, sometimes referred to as advanced care planning. Sometimes it can feel a little bit dim and grim, but the goal is to be able to help the decision making process when it comes to the decisions that we have to make for our loved ones who live with dementia, a little less burdensome. All right, so just keep that in mind. Bear with me. Hold on tight. So, a little bit of caregiving reality and strength. So when you think about you all as caregivers, yes, you often carry a very heavy load, providing care, not just care for your loved one, navigating life experiences, right? Other life experiences. So whether that's your own health, your work outside of the home, or sometimes, people work from home a lot nowadays in different capacities, care of dependent children, if you're in that age category, managing finances, right? Particularly for your loved one, the cost of care in terms of finances as well. So it's not just what you do, right? We understand that this is a profound labor of love that you're engaged in. And again, I say thank you. So thinking about the strengths of that, right? Particularly if you are, I know folks could be caregiving all across the world, but when you think about being at home in particular and having a village. So wherever you are, having a village, a group of individuals that you can lean on for strength is considered wealth. It's considered wealth and part of your superpower as a caregiver. And I think the realization, one of the things that is hard for caregivers often to realize, is that, it's important that you tap into those areas of strength, that support system. Oftentimes it entails asking for help, which I know can be challenging for caregivers, but it's something that we have to kind of put aside the shame and be okay with asking for help, asking for support. Okay. Without adding, feeling like you are adding additional pressure. So it's kind of to relieve some of the pressure that you're feeling as a caregiver. So if each of you can, for me, if you're seated, hopefully you are, if you could make sure that your feet is planted. So your feet is planted somewhere on the ground. And, I know this might feel like a little bit of a mundane practice, but if you can just take a breath, and hopefully you all are able to see my slides. You are, right?
Yes, we are.
Nod. Okay, good. It's a little late to check, but hey. So if you can just, plant your feet firmly on the floor. If you can close your eyes. If you don't want to, you can just choose a focal point. So choose something to stare at. It could be a particular point on the carpet or tile in front of you or a piece of furniture, but just taking a deep breath. And I'm going to count as we inhale. And then we're going to exhale. And I'm going to count as we exhale. Everybody ready? So, ready for the inhale? Inhale, deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do it again. Inhale, deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do it one more time. Deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And on that exhale, what you want to do is make sure you're feeling like you're emptying all that stale breath that's at the bottom of your lungs with that. All right. So hopefully that helps to remind you all that, yes, you're still here. Yes, you're still present, and you're okay. You're okay, even in the midst of the feelings of stress and others that some people described. The other tip I will share that has been really helpful for me as well is, and I usually do it, if I'm nervous to give a presentation in front of a big crowd or to speak with somebody new, to go into a big meeting, is this notion of, it's really effective when you're standing, sorry. If you just take your hands and just reach them all the way up, all the way up. So just go ahead and do it with me, all the way up. Yes, Dr. Clark, both hands all the way up, all the way up. And what this does is it releases that tension in your shoulders that you may not even realize is there, right? So that's an exercise that you can do just for a few seconds to release the tension that you're feeling in your shoulders and your neck. All right. So I did not share my slides with Miss Corlette prior to this, but she asked you all how you're feeling, right? And I know at the beginning of the year, we're all thinking about setting intentions. What's the year? What are we going to do this year? What are we going to do new? So you might subscribe to that, or you may not. Either way is okay. But I would admonish you to think of a word. And this is actually something that I do. Think of a word that becomes your theme for this upcoming year. And it could be something that's really refreshing. It could be around the theme of faith, family, your health, dignity, whatever you choose. So just think of one word. The example here could be patience. It could be strength. Something that will help you to come back to your purpose, your center, whenever things are feeling stressed. Yes, this is why I'm here. This is what I'm doing. So I would encourage you to think about what that word is and what you can use and how you can use that for this year. All right. So back to those micro habits or those small things that you can be doing and how you can center them even around the care that you're delivering to your loved one. So when you think about short 5-minute rituals, the importance of hydration, being dehydrated can really make us feel horrible. Being dehydrated can make any pain that you're experiencing feel much greater. You can have a headache from being hydrated. So you can have a headache, you can take in enough water, your headache can go away. You can have knee pain, back pain. All of those different aches and pains are made worse by being dehydrated. At home, even especially during the cooler months, yes, the cooler months at home, one of the things we tend to see is, and this is not just for caregivers, this is specifically for older adults as well. Dehydration can easily set in because it's cooler, right? So we're not drinking as much water because we're not as hot. So we can easily still become dehydrated. So making sure that you're drinking sufficient water and how you center that, whether it's around medication time, when you're administering your medications to either yourself or your loved one, just go ahead and take some extra sips of water, right? And build that in throughout your day. Carrying a water bottle around with you and taking your sips throughout your day, extremely important. Yes, it's going to make you go to the bathroom a little bit more, but hey, that gets you up and moving too, right? Even if it's just to walk to the bathroom. So you see how this all works together. um, Stretching, I talked about, just raising your hands and getting that neck tension and shoulder release, doing neck rolls, whatever micro bursts of self-care, right, that you can do. Um, Being grateful. I know it sounds cliche, but first thing in the morning, last thing at night, whenever you get a chance, even if it's a quick nap during the day. So centering yourself when you sit down to close your eyes, even for 10 minutes, just saying what you're thankful for, right? And making that clear can help boost your own mood, boost your mental health, right? Taking those breaths when you need to. So think about in the morning when you drink tea or coffee, and using that as an opportunity. Also thinking about setting boundaries, right? And doing so without guilt. And this can be boundaries that you have to set maybe with other family members, right? Maybe with coworkers, right? So setting up this intention when it comes to asks that might be made of you or even your own children, right? Setting up an expectation that no, I'm not always available, right? And yes, I can do this for you, but I cannot do that right now. And that's okay. We don't have to be on 100% of the time. And it's okay to say, um, I love you, but I need to take a break so that I can be my best for you. Okay? Speaking of taking a break, respite. Respite is this opportunity to take a break, particularly from caregiving. So one of the things I know that caregivers oftentimes struggle with is doing just that. So that asking for help. So figuring out who is it that you can rely on? Who is trusted in your family circle, in your friend circle? Caregivers often, I know, feel sometimes that no one can take care of my loved one like I can. And that is probably true. However, you cannot do it 100% of the time and still be well. So think about who is in your circle that I can call on, whether it's a sibling, an adult child, a niece, nephew. They tend to have a lot of energy that can just sit with, watch, do things for your loved one while you take a break. And that break can look like whatever it is you need, a shower, a bath, a walk, um, going to the mall and taking a walk on a hot day. So whatever it is that you can do to just take your mind off of the chores of caregiving in that moment to give you a break. Again, these are just some additional tips here. I can skip through that. So I want to touch on a couple things related to safety real quick regarding your loved one living with dementia. So thinking about, and this is, I think, all part of self-care, because if we have some of these things in place as caregivers, it will help to reduce the burden, the stress that we feel. So when it comes to home safety, having that medication list, and I will say this is important even for yourself, right? If you take medication, so having a list of medication, whether that is of your medications, whether that is handwritten or printed out. I will tell you from my own experience with my parents who are both in their 80s, not with dementia, but seeing a doctor and going and seeing doctors in on Nassau when I'm not there, especially, every so often, I periodically update their medication list so that when they do go in to see their doctor, they can whip it out and say, hey, here's what I'm taking. And this is really important, especially when your loved one or yourself are seeing multiple doctors, right? And doctors are making changes to medication, and it's hard to remember. So yes, you can have your Ziploc bag where you carry your medications with you, but having that nice printed list that says what you take, and also, if it's possible, have your doctors or have someone help you to figure out why you take or why each medication is being taken so that you will know that information as well. Very important. The restroom, non-slip mats, If they're able to use the tub, very important for safety. If you can have grab bars, elevating the toilet seat or having an elevation over the toilet seat, very important. So thinking about fall prevention. In the kitchen, the one thing I have to stress, and this is also something that we incorporated in my parents' home as well, smoke detectors. We underestimate the importance of smoke detectors in our home. Smoke detectors, particularly near the kitchen areas. So when you think about the forgetfulness that happens and stoves being left on, a smoke detector can help to alert everyone in the home or even neighbors when something is burning on the stove. So making sure that you have smoke detectors, and we don't want to hear them chirping while you're on the phone either. So you have to change the batteries. So when they chirp, that means the batteries need to change. So make sure you're changing those batteries every time every time time changes in the spring and in the fall, where you're setting your clocks back or setting them forward, that you're changing those batteries and those smoke detectors. Getting the young nephews or whoever to get up on the ladder. Don't get up on the ladder yourself if you're an older adult. Please don't. And then making sure that paths are clear in and around the home, especially around entrances and exits, and using securing with locks. Wandering, we know that this is a problem with people living with dementia. Not everyone, right, wanders, but we don't necessarily know when it can happen. So also the importance of keeping the phone numbers, emergency contacts, yes, and phone numbers for physicians handy, so that in the event you need it, you know where to find it, right? ID bracelets and alerts, that sort of thing, can be also useful when people are not able to identify even who they are anymore. And so with their information on there. All right. Having plans for emergency, and I included in here, these emergencies include hurricane preparation when you have to move to higher ground or something like that. So having those things can all help to reduce our stress as caregivers. I know this is not hurricane season, but before we know it, it will be here. These are just a couple examples of different support networks, right? We have our medical system for emergencies and that sort of stuff. This group, as an Alzheimer's Association, the WhatsApp group that we are able to access and post questions and reach out for help, is a great way to the leaders of this group. Again, thank you very much. And then also local and faith communities, extremely important. Again, thinking about that village and what that village looks like, the importance of neighbors. I will tell you, having had an uncle that lived with dementia who was wondering, the neighbors and members in the community were extremely important to alerting family members when that loved one had exited the home. So we got to get back to getting to knowing who our neighbors are and being able to be in relationship with them. Again, these are different practices. If it works for you, I am a person of faith, so I listed prayer, affirmations, whatever it is to help you. Music, hymns, listening to music, particularly inspirational music, can be extremely helpful and uplifting. Storytelling, sharing your story with others. You'll be surprised to know who might be in your workplace, who may be dealing with some of the same struggles. You never know. In your church, dealing with the same struggles. In your circle of friends. We just never know, but we don't often like to talk about these things. Again, weaving in those practices in your daily habits, staying flexible, being kind to yourself, giving yourself grace. So yes, these are the things that I set out to do today, but I did not have the time to do all of them. That's okay. So not being so hard on yourself, particularly as we start this new year, and particularly as you reflect on 2025. No, I did not get all of the things done on my list that I wanted to do, but that is okay. I get to set aside, and whether I start fresh because of this is the start of a new year, or I'm starting fresh because this is a new day, give yourself grace, okay? So the last thing I want to talk about here is about healthcare planning. Again, can be considered gloom and doom. Yes, it can include conversations around death and dying. Part of the reality for all of us on this call, for every single person who is breathing the breath of life right now, is that we will die. None of us are getting out of here alive. That's just the God honest truth, right? So what are some of the things that we can do and think about, even for our own plans, right? For what healthcare decision making. Who is going to be that person? What is my health status look like now? What is my loved one's health status look like in terms of physical health? Who is going to make decisions for my loved one? Who is the designated person? Have we had conversations as a family about who is going to be the person or how decisions are going to be made? Is it going to be the adult children coming together? Is the estranged kid who lives in Canada or some other part of the world going to show up and think that they're in charge because they're the oldest, but they haven't been there? We need to think about these things before we get to moments of crisis when decisions have to be made on the fly. Documenting wishes. So making sure that you have conversations with your loved one's provider, your healthcare provider, about what the decision is in terms of if this person heart stops beating, if they stop breathing, what will we do? So we don't like to think about these things, but I will tell you, as a nurse for many years in the ICU in the Bahamas and throughout the United States, it is better when we plan. It's better when we have these conversations in advance. It's not only better for your loved one, it's better for those of us who are left behind. So if you don't get anything else from the conversation we're having today, planning is preparation, and take the time to talk about these things with your family members, and update plans as things change. At least once a year, review plans about who is the decision maker, what will happen if something happens to me as the caregiver, who is going to step as the primary caregiver, perhaps, who is going to step in and care for my fill in the blank loved one that I'm caring for on a day-to-day basis. Caregivers fall ill too, and there needs to be a backup plan so that we're not constantly in crisis mode when things happen. Okay. So I admonish each of you to do that. Thinking about financial decision making as well. I know finances is something we also don't like to talk about, but everything in life comes with a cost, right? So we also need to be thinking about, when we think about care, how is that care going to be executed and delivered? And when I talk about documenting the plan, I know through having conversations with my colleagues at home, just had a conversation with Dr. Margot Monroe, who also does palliative care work in the Bahamas just this morning. And we were talking about how we don't yet have a formal document that we can use to document our end of life plans in. But this is just one example. And I don't have any sort of financial interest in this company that produces the 5 wishes. But this is one very basically written document that will help you to be able to think about those sorts of questions. I can share in the link when I'm done a link to what the sample document looks like. And it's something that you can just read through, right? They cost like $1 a piece online. Whenever I come home for a visit, I usually pack a few of them and I hand them out, especially to family members and friends. And we're also exploring ways of promoting documenting one's wishes around health at home later this year. So just thinking about who should be the decision maker would be a great place to start in the event a person, your loved one, even yourself, is not able to make decisions on your behalf. And I will say to you, this is not just around death and dying. I could have surgery. If I have surgery and I'm in the ICU and I'm intubated, meaning I have that breathing tube in my mouth, I can't make decisions for myself. So I need to figure out who is going to be that person. Typically, if you're married, it defaults to your spouse. But if you're not married, or if you're separated, I will say, if you're separated from your spouse is still your spouse. So if you don't want a spouse that you're separated from to be your decision maker, you need to have a document in place to make folks aware and have these conversations. And this is the last thing I will end with. I cannot help. I'm so proud of this young man. I don't know if you all are basketball fans. So yes, we talked about stuff that's really heavy, but I'm going to end really light. So BJ Edgecombe, if you haven't seen this young man play for the Philadelphia 76ers, you need to. He is amazing. He's from Bimini. He was the 3rd pick in the draft, and he is killing it. So he is making us proud as Bahamians all across the country, all across the world. I know he's playing in Miami in March, and we were in Bimini the week before Christmas, and his family told me that they're trying to get the whole Bahamas to come to the game in Miami. I'm in Ohio, so I'll probably see him when he comes to Cleveland or go to Philadelphia to see him. But he is an amazing example of the great things, as you all are, that comes out of our country. And so I just wanted to highlight him here and the work that he's doing. A fine young man that is just making us all proud. So I thank you all for your attention and Godspeed. I give you blessings. And I think we'll pause for any questions. I'll hand it back over to the organizers.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr.
Amazing.
Moss. Fantastic. Amazing. Do
Yeah.
we have any questions for Dr. Moss?
Thank you.
No questions? Any thoughts?
You mentioned about the village. I think my village is probably way too small because they people who were once available, they seem to be going through their own challenges right now. And um right now it is just my immediate family that is dealing with my mom. And it's really just me, my brother, and my sister. My dad he's still I don't know. Because mom got sick with this dementia, he hasn't been himself. And I don't think that he is still grasping what all is going on. Or that, this will blow over or whatever. I don't know. But in terms of reaching out to people who can honestly help, um, that is where I'm lacking the most. And it might mean that I will definitely have to look into getting uh, another caregiver to come by, even if it's only for a few hours, a few days out of the week. Um, but I never thought about my village until you mentioned it. And until you mentioned, having that village to help out. Like I said, most of the people who are closer to the family, they're going through their own challenges. Sometimes we may link up with each other, say, I have to run some errands in this area here. Do you have anything to do in this area that you want me to get? We may be able to help out in that way. But the main help that we need, or that I know for sure I need, is real help with mom. And for her to feel comfortable with someone, whereas if I have to run errands, she would be okay. Or, you know, um, yeah, I just think that for me, it wasn't until you mentioned the village that I realized that my village need help too.
Yeah. And I will tell you, thank you so much, Monique. I will tell you what you're describing is not uncommon. Caregivers talk about this struggle all the time. And it's whether or not even your social circles, they tend to change when you're in the caregiving role. You're not as available, right? To maybe go out on outings. Some people might not um, feel like they know what to say to you as a caregiver or how to help. And so one of the things I would admonish you to do is maybe, like you sound like you've started already, is to do that self-assessment, figuring out what is it that I need. And you mentioned help, right? Somebody else to be able to step in when you need to run out and do errands. So figuring out, who is it that I trust to be able to do that. And whether it's short term, a friend, a neighbor, or it's somebody in a paid role, if the resources, the financial resources is there to do that. And it might start off might have to start off small. Maybe it's an hour. It can't be a whole day, but it's a start, right? And it gives you, because I think sometimes caregivers have to like ease themselves into this, notion of, yes, I can take a break and step away. And so starting small is okay. It's not that I'm going to take a trip and go to Eleuthero or a different island for a weekend because I don't feel like I have that liberty to do that. But maybe it's just an hour. So thinking about also the realization that your village does not. Oftentimes, our family members are not capable. Sometimes they themselves are burned out, and so it is stepping outside of the family to maybe friend groups, to those neighbors, to those social circles, or someone that you come into contact with who has had the lived experience that you now have, who can be of support to you. Maybe it's this ability for somebody just to listen. So I think your plan for expanding your village and being comfortable with your village looking a lot different now than maybe when you started this journey. I hope that helps.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Hi, this is Mahala. I just happened to be on this call, but I know that I need to be here. I'm just new in the caregiver. Well, not new. I've always been there for my mom, but I am just, my one word is ambivalent on not just mom, but seeing my entire family as they start to progress and observe family members who are in the throes of Alzheimer's now, dementia now. Mom is not there, but I'm like with my binoculars watching her and feeling a bit ambivalent and afraid as to where she will be. And my thing is, I don't have a village. I don't feel like I have a village because I've divorced my village. What happens when you've divorced your
Mhm.
village because you felt like you didn't have a village in the first place? And I like how you talked about looking to persons who've had the lived experience. Another thing someone said was looking at it, but also looking at this earlier as opposed to later, where you can plan and prepare. And then I had a thought the other day, and I was talking to someone, I'm like, how about we just move the other family members who need support? We all congregate in one home and use it as a village. Like, I'm not sure, but I think the distance and the I'm in my silo, you're in your silo is really what's causing this to be painful. And like
Mhm.
you said, no one wants to talk about it because everyone thinks their problem is singular to themselves. When you could sit next to me and I have a conversation, we have the same issue. I believe in
Mhm.
that thoroughly. I am a
Mhm.
faith-based, I believe. Faith is my framework, my ground.
Mhm.
So I have to now travel back and forth to the Bahamas to care for mom and to be there, even
Mhm.
though she's okay now, but where is she headed? She's 83, but she's okay so far.
Yeah. I think, Dr. Sanders, you hit it on the head, right? We gotta make plans. Like you, my parents are in their 80s. My mom's 82 on Boxing Day, and my dad's 84. So we gotta make plans, right? When if and when something happens, right? Who will be that person? I know you mentioned too about divorcing your village. So oftentimes, what do people do after getting a divorce? Maybe not right away. They got to find someone else, right?
Mm,
So how do you rebuild your village, right? Maybe it's new people, and I think depending on your personality type, and I say this not to pick on you, but because I struggled with this with myself. When you set these really high standards for folks, you get disappointed easily sometimes, right? But I think we have to give grace, right? No one is, or I shouldn't say no one, but oftentimes people may not have the high standard that you have with doing certain things, right? Or carrying out certain actions. That doesn't mean you cut them off. right? That just means you have to love and appreciate that person where they are. And this goes for family members too, right? Yes, they may not provide the care for my loved one in the way that I do, but maybe they do it in the best way they can. Once they're being safe, that's okay. That's okay, right? So it's not a reason to disconnect from them or say, you're not good enough or I'm done with you. Maybe we figure out ways to make little shifts within our own thinking that will help us to be a little bit more open and receptive to loving people from where they are. And sometimes with the capacity that, realizing that they can only do certain things from the capacity from which they're able to do it from. I hope that makes sense. I see a comment about from you earlier about the legal document. Yes, we want to be able, the five wishes in some states, I know in the United States, can be used as a legal document. I cannot say that completing this booklet will make it a legal document for you. No, in the Bahamas. But what I can say is having that conversation with the healthcare provider that your loved one sees or that you sees, and it being documented as part of your medical record. And Dr. Roll can speak more to that. That's what make it part of a legal document, right? Or seeing an attorney and devising what's called a living will, right? Where they sit down with you and you talk about who that decision maker is going to be for healthcare, your power of attorney. Sometimes it's called for healthcare. Power of attorney for finances is different. Don't get it confused. So that can be a part of a living will that you devise with an attorney. This document can be witnessed by anyone if you complete it, not the sample version that told you, but what it can do is help you to begin to have those conversations with your healthcare provider, with your family members, other family members. And then Yvette said that it's a great idea about the medication list. It has been, I will tell you, life-changing for me, caring for my parents from afar. Periodically, I just do go in and make sure that that list is updated and that I share it because I updated electronically because my handwriting is horrible. I updated electronically, so I type it out and I print it out whenever they come to visit or I'm visiting home. Put one copy at home, one in my dad's wallet for him, one in my mom's wallet for her. My dad has a pacemaker, so he has his information in there as well. And also make sure that my sister who is at home, my niece who is at home, they have copies as well, so that if they need to grab it, they have access to it as well. So don't be selfish, is what I'm trying to say with sharing the information as well. And I will tell you, and Dr. Roll could probably attest to this, Dr. Clark can attest to this, physicians love it. They get comments all the time. Thank you so much for having this because they don't have to go digging and searching and figuring out, yes, I take the blood pressure medication. Well, which blood pressure medication? I don't know, right? It's hard to remember. It's hard for young people to remember. So we don't have to. We can write it down and have it available for our healthcare providers.
That is correct. Most definitely. Mm-hmm.
I don't see any other questions in the chat. I don't know if there's any more from the audience or comments.
Okay. Well, I thank you so much for that. Oh, somebody else is coming in.
No, this is just Mahala again. This was a very good, timely talk that I know for myself I'm struggling with now at this point in my life. They talk about being the sandwich generation, and I I am like I don't know if it's just I feel so I don't even know how to feel, but I'm trying to wade through it in terms of being there for my parent, which is just my mom now. I've already raised an adult child and still trying to be more like a kite holder for her. It's like, so it's a little bit weird, but I think this was good to come on and listen to get a perspective of exactly on my own feelings of the whole thing. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. And if I could share one thing, Dr. Saunders, one of the things that has been personally and professionally apparent to me as somebody who has also parents in their 80s. And I have teenagers. I have a college freshman and a high school freshman. And so they're old enough, right, to understand what it is that me as their mother is doing in my day-to-day work, in my being a mom to them, and also as being a daughter. So, what you're essentially doing for your adult child is teaching your adult child how to treat you by caring for your aging parents. So, take pride in what you're doing. I know it's not easy, especially being what we call a distance caregiver, but you're teaching your adult child how to care for you. So
Mm-hmm.
as you do it with grace, do it with pride. Yes, I know it can be very stressful, but there's going to come a time when we're going to be old enough and we're going to need care. And
Mm-hmm.
by showing and modeling for our children how to treat our aging parents is hopefully going to demonstrate for them how they need to care for us.
Thank you.
I agree. I agree. Um, I would like to add to your comments, Dr. Moss. Your resetting has basically laid out, should I say, the foundation for the next 12 months, for the next 11 months, because each of those topics I would like to place emphasis. For instance, the medication list. Maybe our next meeting, we have persons in the group who would at that time set up the medication list for their caregivers, and we can do it together.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing too is having to write out the health plan. We can do that during one of our sessions, and we can help you guys through that.
Mm-hmm.
How it's written, what needs to be placed in it, etc. So resetting for 2026, Dr. Moss, thank you so much. You've basically done that for us. I
You're
just
welcome.
wanted to share with you, with Dr. Saunders mentioned, as well as Monique, that about that village that they may not have. I am in Berlin, Germany now, and I've been for the last 3 months. And um, one of the main things that I wanted to do while here is to travel to Holland in order to visit a place called Hodgwick Dementia Village. And it is exactly a village. And in that village, there is a community that has a bank, a food store, a church, um, houses of dwellings of residents, and every person's within that community has some form of dementia. Every person who is working, be that in the food store or the bank or the post office, are trained on how to take care or to serve that community of dementia. And the reason for going is not the fact that most people throughout the world will go to Holland in order to learn how this village works and how it's set up, and to go back to wherever they're from, be that China or Japan. I'm from the Bahamas, and to regurgitate that village. It started off with a meeting that I had to send my bio along with my CV because they wanted to know more about me and what plans I have for the Bahamas so that they can concentrate on those areas in particular. So that is work in progress. just to let you know, because we don't have that village. We have to create that village for use in times when you have exhausted your families and friends. Where do you turn next? So, with hopes that I can continue or to finish this journey with that village in outside of Holland, so that I can return to Nassau and to build the village that I know each and every one of you need, because you are reaching out, and somehow we just have to build what we think you need. All right. So, Dr. Rowe, I see that you are typing.
Dr. Roll,
Maybe you can
comment?
talk to us.
Yeah, Dr. Roll, you're typing, but do you have anything that you wanted to add? Dr. Roll, are you able to speak? I don't think she is, Dr. Clark.
Okay.
Do you want to read her comment there? What does she want to say? Advanced directives format. So, okay, she said, I just wanted to share that we have advanced directives format that we use for patients here locally. It's not an official document, however, it can be notarized and accepted as a legal document. Okay. Good information. Very good.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so that would be something that we should probably use, right, in this group. Yeah, yeah. That's wonderful. I look forward to you sharing that, Dr. Roll, with us. That would be
Yes.
great.
Can I
Yeah.
just make a final comment? The information on the village, the dementia village, it is so pertinent. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, wow. And I'm thinking, wow, because so I'm a neonatal nurse practitioner by profession. Actually, this 20 years now, and I'm also a nurse scientist. But when I think about my love in a neonatal world, my love is, and my final and ultimate goal before I leave this world is to build a PPEC, and that's an area for infants and children with medical issues, so that they can just be happy in the space. And I'm sitting here thinking that village is the space that is so needed for our persons with dementia and Alzheimer's. I am so looking forward to that in the Bahamas. I am so there for it. I'm just tingling hearing that. That is so great. And I look forward to your success in getting that accomplished.
Thank you. Because the need is there. There are more questions than answers.
Yes.
And we only meet once a month for an hour and a half or so. But there's so much more that's needed in our community. The Dementia Village, they did not, or they do not depend upon, their government, or, they may get some funding from the local sponsors, but somebody saw the need because it was absent.
Mm.
So there is just so unbelievable. There's one here in Germany, probably about 3 hours away. And I understand there's one in the United States, somewhere in California or something like that. I wouldn't have heard about it if it hadn't been brought to my attention. But majority of persons who want to learn about this village, they would come or they would go to Holland because they are the first. And it's just amazing the way that it's set up. It's just It's mind-blowing for me. But one step at a time, and we would have our village as well.
Absolutely fantastic. Do we have any additional questions or comments? As Dr. Clark said, we only meet once a month. Our next meeting, we meet the first Tuesday of every month at 6:30. It is the same link every month. So please mark your calendars. Please plan on joining us. We want to keep the conversation going. If you are interested in being a part of our group on WhatsApp, please again drop your name, phone number in the chat, and Dr. Clark will add you to our WhatsApp group. If there are no additional comments or questions, we are going to wrap up. Dr. Clark, did you have any final comments? Dr. Clark, Dr. Roll?
I don't have any other than we would send out the notice as to what the next meeting title would be, and it will be an extension of what Dr. Morse has done. And I think we should focus more on two things that basically stands out is the healthcare plan for our loved ones, as well as that medication list. So come prepared next month as we work along with you in setting up that health plan for your loved ones, as well as getting your medication list together. Okay?
Fantastic. Dr. Roll, any final comments?
She's probably still busy.
Right. Dr. Roll is probably working right now. She is at Public Hospital Authority, so pretty sure she's working. She's not communicating at this point. Thank you so much, everyone. We do appreciate your support. We appreciate the love, the care that you're giving to your loved ones, and we appreciate all of your efforts. So we will see you next month. Same first Tuesday of the month, same Zoom link. Take care all and have a fantastic beginning of the new year and a wonderful week. Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Take care, Therese.
Yes, Godfather, reach out.